it's great. Steve is doing, we have Hofstra tomorrow morning too. Steve Cavalier's doing it. Yeah, Exodus, the Kolomoed, where the handout is focusing on the 13 attributes. We will see where we go, but yeah, we're doing Exodus tomorrow. Yeah. news. We got Michael and Joey for both the 3rd and the 10th. I'm very happy. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As we enter Shabbat this evening, I'd love to bring all our joy, bring all our simcha together to the community. So does anybody have anything that's been wonderful that's happened for them recently that they'd like to share?
And she's got to have an ultrasound before she can have her surgery. And my home health aide, Lauren, found her vet charges a tiny fraction of what the vet that we first went to charged. So it's doable, and Muffy will make full recovery.
Wonderful. And Muffy looked at you when you were talking. I think she knows. Yeah.
Ralph and I got to go to Kaplan and Gideon's 7th birthday party in Denton last Saturday, and it was at a gymnastics facility, and I have a video of Ralph walking the balance beam.
And he was able to still walk away after the party?
The balance beam was only about that high above the
Okay. Sounds like my kind of gymnastics. Beautiful. Well, happy birthday to them. You know, that's what it's all about when you're 7. Yeah.
I got a new job.
Very exciting. Wonderful. That's exciting. Anybody else? Wonderful things that are happening? Well, as we think about all of the joys that we each carry, let us bring them to this moment of Shabbat. Let us welcome Shabbat with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. I'm going to invite Vicky to join me up here to lead us in our Shabbat candle lighting. And you know what? You're going to need this so we can hear you. I have some English for you first. But this way you don't have to look up. So many moving parts.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kireshanu b'mitzvotav, tzivanu להדליק נר ונדליק נר לשבת.
Beautiful. Thank you. As you've noticed, everything you need for our service this evening will be on the screens, but there are also prayer books available for you in the shelves right underneath the seats you are sitting in, so you can choose if you'd like to follow along in the prayer book or follow along with our prayers on the screen. If you are opening up your prayer book, I invite you to open to page 124 as we read together. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. In Jewish tradition, we compare Shabbat to a wedding. That's why sometimes you might see people wear white. If anybody has been to Jacob's camp, you know the whole camp dresses in white for Shabbat, that sign of purity. And we are in this relationship with God and with Shabbat, and we're supposed to bring moments of joy like we bring on a wedding. So there is this metaphor that we welcome the Shabbat bride into our community. And we do that with the words of Lecha Dodi. So I invite you to sing these words along with me on page 138. When we get to that final verse, I'll invite you, if you're comfortable, to rise and face the door, to greet Shabbat just like you would greet a guest in your own home. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor vezachor bedibor echad Hishmianu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemu tiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor habracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'maksheva techila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech kumi uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alaich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. If you are comfortable to do so, I invite you to rise to face the door so we can greet Shabbat together. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvesohola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 panei Shabbat, nekabela. Before you take your seats, I invite you, wish someone near you, someone that you did not arrive with potentially, a Shabbat Shalom. Once you've had a moment to greet a few people, I invite you to make your way back to your seats, and you may be seated. Let us continue this theme of welcoming as we welcome the ministering angels of Shabbat on page 142 with the words of Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I invite you to take a deep breath. As you inhale, maybe carry with you one of the wonderful things that we shared at the beginning of services, or something else wonderful you're thinking of in this moment. And as you exhale, attempt to exhale all your worries away. Exhale the to-do list that hasn't gotten its check marks. Exhale the items that aren't working in your home. That's where I am right now. Exhale all those worries away as you allow your shoulders to get lighter, and you allow yourself to enter these moments of Shabbat with joy and with peace. Page 144. Yitgadal v'kadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirotev yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayete kol beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, ve'imeru, Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Olam Me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha B'richu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran me'alma ve'imeru. Amen. Page 146. I invite you to please rise. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. You may be seated. Page 149, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide and time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue together, page 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn to page 152, I invite you to please rise. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. As we continue chanting together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'kol lavavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam livanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvleftecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzo beitecha uvisharecha liman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Page 157, we continue reading responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, No ratehilot, o seifele, o seifele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. We read together page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. I'm curious if anybody wants to share a favorite thing about Shabbat. A favorite thing. It's kind of like going to the doctor, but the medicine works. Beautiful. Yeah. Nice. A portal to a spiritual world. Beautiful. To be with community and to be together. If my daughter were here, she happens to be at services with my husband in Mandeville, she would say challah. But what's different about this Shabbat? Well, we're going to be blessing some matzah at the end of services tonight as we are in the season of Passover. Other things that we love about being together on Shabbat or that we love about Shabbat. So I will share one of the things I love is that it forces me to hit the pause button. I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at taking those deep breaths and stepping back and hitting the pause button. But Shabbat is that force that makes us hit the pause button.
I was. In 1978, I went to Israel. And when you welcome the Sabbath brides, I was on a NIFTY trip, NIFTY Academy 9, 1978. And the way you led the welcoming of the bride tonight was identical to the way I had seen it done at the Reformed Synagogue that was in Haifa that we got to experience that night back in the summer of 1978.
Beautiful. Might have been Or Chadash, a synagogue in Haifa.
Attached to a school.
Oh, or part of Leo Beck. Could have been the Leo Beck synagogue as well. I would say a few summers after the date you said, I also went on that nifty trip. Such a wonderful moment. But I will, because you mentioned it, say my favorite Shabbat experience in Israel, I think, was on the Tayelet, which is in Tel Aviv. There is a group who does a very musical on the beach Shabbat. They put out chairs and you're sitting in either on the sand or in a chair by the sand overlooking the water as the sun is setting. And it is a completely musical Shabbat. So one day, hopefully we all can travel there together and experience. I think that is one of my favorite Israel Shabbat moments. Other things we love about Shabbat, right? So Shabbat brings up memories for us sometimes. For me, certain musical things transport me back to the outdoor chapel at Gucci, which is Goldman Union Camp Institute, only one C, not two. Which is like Jacobs, but it is in Indiana, where I spent a few summers. Sometimes it transports me to Camp Harlem, which again, like Jacobs, but in the Poconos, and Chapel on the Hill or Chapel in the Woods. And Sometimes it transports me to quiet moments in my home. So let us think of all of these places we are transported as we continue to celebrate Shabbat, page 162, with the words of Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We've come to that moment in our evening service where we turn to our Amidah. Prayers that remind us about our history, about our past, about the strength that God has, and about those moments that we are able to be kadosh, to be holy. But before we even get to those prayers, we open up our Amidah by asking God to open our lips. And I think that we do that because sometimes when we open our mouths to pray, we don't really know what to say. Some of us focus on the Hebrew words which we're about to chant together. Some of us focus on the English translation. Some of us think about the fact that we are connected to Jews all over the world chanting these same words. And some of us find the words in our hearts. But sometimes prayer is hard. And so I think we open our Amidah asking God to open our lips. So in those moments when we don't know the right words to say, we can ask God to help us with them. So I invite you to enter whatever that prayerful moment is as we join together page 164, and I invite you to rise. Adonai sifatai tifta ufiya gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotinu v'imotei Ose shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael. We are in a special time period on our calendar where we're doing some counting. And I mean counting. 1, 2, 3. We are counting from Passover to Jeopardy question of the evening. What are we counting to? Shavuot. So we count from Exodus from Egypt to the gift of getting the Torah at Mount Sinai, which is what we celebrate on Shavuot. So tradition tells us that in the evening, we are supposed to say a blessing, and we are supposed to count what day of the Omer it is. If you forget to count one night, it's okay, but then you have to do it the next night, hopefully you remember, and omit the blessing. Because it's like an act of mindfulness almost to remember to do this for 40 days. It's almost like if you go to the gym and you remember to go to the gym every single day or whatever your 3 days a week schedule is, then you go on vacation for a week. And so you don't go to the gym. When you get back to the gym, your body feels it, right? So it's the same thing with the Omer. You're supposed to get in a habit of counting every single evening to get us from freedom to receiving Torah. Now, there's lots of traditions. Some put a different midah, a different Jewish value on each day, and so you can think about kindness one day, generosity one day, humility one day, and so it gives you an opportunity to learn a little more. So we've just started, because we're still in Passover. We began counting after Passover began. So we are going to join together in the counting of the Omer, which if you're in your prayer book is on page 570. We're going to read this blessing together, and the answer is on the screen. Tonight is the 4th night of the Omer, so we count the 4th day. So I invite you to join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. Today is the 4th day, which is 0 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. So let us continue this journey to Mount Sinai together. Shavuot is at the beginning of June, so we will continue counting our Omer till we reach the holiday of Shavuot. When we add these extra traditions, the extra rituals, for me it connects me more, even more so, to people all over the world, because they're probably doing the same thing. Now Shabbat is like in the thick of it in somewhere in another place of the earth, right? Because of time zones, but they too counted the Omer. And it makes me think about when we do these special rituals, how connected we are. So tonight, as we pray for all of those in our community in need of healing, I want us also to think about people all over the world. I want us to think about people in America on certain college campuses. I want us to think about each other and the support we can give each other. We might not be suffering illness of body, but many of us, I know, are suffering illness of mind because of what is on the news and what is going on all across our country and across the world. So let us think of all of those in need of healing, of body, of spirit, and of mind. In our community, we think of Joy Lewis, Minna Bat Yentl, Mordechai Bendina, Anna Carlo, Judy Roheim, Frida Tamaro Bat Liba Bela, Menucha Pesa Bat Cherny Umosha, Gretchen Haynes, Ruby Smolinski, Jennifer Casson, Storm Matthews, Terry Stern, Judith Von Brentnell, Kaylee Barron, Zisel Bat Yentl, David Berman, Harvey Schwartzberg, Maxine Cohn, David Leek, Barbara Stockner, Janet Gerwich, Danielle Riker, Buddy Ben Margarita, Laura Swire, Susan Wasserman, Nevin Rose, Cindy DeMarco, Sheldon Rossin, James Stockner, Vicki Jenkins, Steve Ginsberg, Yitzhak Dov Ben Chana, Joel Ben Mildred, Devorah Bat Yaakov Chaim Vabela, and Janice Thomas. If there are others you are thinking of in need of healing, if you'd like to share their names aloud, I invite you to do so.
Elise Leviton.
For the names we heard aloud, those whom we hold in our hearts, those across our country and across the world in need of healing, let us offer these prayers of healing. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I have lived in Baton Rouge for almost 2 years now. I still don't truly understand what bless her heart means. I've heard that. I still get excited during winter when I don't have to wake up early to scrape ice off my car. I still think a phone call can be completed in under 10 minutes. And I still get excited when I use the word y'all properly in a sentence. My friends and family across the country still ask me if I am over my culture shock of moving to the South. I just keep telling myself, everyone gets culture shock. It's normal. It's healthy. It's unavoidable. It's also funny and annoying and depressing and depleting and confusing and sneaky, and the list goes on. But culture shock is necessary. Imagine the culture shock that the Israelites felt because life was so different after the abrupt change of being slaves in Egypt to being wanderers in the desert. We celebrate our freedom on this holiday of Passover, but maybe we should also be celebrating the Israelites themselves and the actions they took. The Israelites had spent 4 centuries in Egypt, 4 centuries acculturating to Egyptian life, Egyptian talk, Egyptian agricultural practices, Egyptian climate, everything Egyptian. After all those centuries of creating Egyptian roots, a bush burns and a voice speaks to Moses, and all of their comfort in Egypt is no more. The Torah even alludes to the culture shock, which the Israelites must have felt. In the book of Numbers, we read, "We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and garlic. Now our gullets are shriveled. There is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look to." The desert, however, was probably not the reason for the Israelites' culture shock. It most likely had more to do with their tour guide. The desert probably had little culture for which to even shock. The culture that the Israelite was becoming accustomed to was that of God, of the voice they were following. For them, the realm of God replaced the realm of Pharaoh. Every year we sit around a Passover table and are told to feel as if we ourselves were slaves in Egypt. We are supposed to feel the emotions and lifestyle changes of a group of people who abruptly took a leap of faith. Sometimes easier said than done, it seems. But what is culture shock, really? Culture shock refers to feelings of uncertainty, confusion, or anxiety that people may experience when moving to a new country or surroundings. It really has a negative connotation. I think there's a positive way, though, to look at culture shock in the lives of the Israelites and ours. It is a door opening to opportunity. Culture shock allows us to be creative. It allows for us to make things new and exciting. It allows us to be inspired and innovative. The Israelites might have gone through many hardships, but without their beginnings of innovation to create a new culture, we would not have the opportunities to transform ours today. While wandering in the wilderness, the Israelites began the creation of what we now call Judaism. Their tour guide, God, gave them laws to follow and actions to do, and they created a new culture. Passover not only celebrates our freedom from slavery, but also celebrates the beginning of the process of the creation of Judaism. Even in the desert, the Israelites were looking to our future. Although we spend most of the Seder talking about our history, Passover is not only about the past, but it is also about our future. Consider the Seder laid out in the Haggadah. It is full of images of a time yet to come. At the end of the Seder, we search for the matzah, for the afikomen. That search is called safun, that which is hidden. The search for the afikomen is not just a game to keep the children or children at heart awake. It is to remind us that the world is not yet redeemed, that there is a future for our culture. Also, the hero of our Seder is not Moses, but Elijah. The 5th cup is not called Moses' cup of wine, but Elijah's, because Elijah is the forerunner of the Messianic era and is a symbol of what our culture will look like in the future. Our world might not yet be redeemed, but we must hope for a future where we will feel a complete sense of unity, peace, and freedom for all. We continue today to think about this very same topic. We create and transform. Reformed Jews for centuries have prided themselves in creating new based in tradition. And we here in Baton Rouge are doing just this right now. We are adapting our culture to this new environment, to all the buttons I get to push on different devices up here, and the microphones I get to bring out to you to participate in services. It's an exciting time for us as we continue to experiment and reinvent. We know that changing our programs might create a bit of shock, but without allowing for culture shock, we would not be able to move our community forward into the future. And this idea, you know, is not a new one. Even in Midrash, we find stories which teach us about the importance of the future for the culture of Judaism. One story is of God's gift of Torah to the Jewish people, which we will celebrate when we are done counting on Shavuot. When God was ready to give the most precious gift of the Torah to the Jewish people, God wanted a supporter. God said, according to this Midrash, "I'm giving you my precious Torah. Bring me a guarantor, and then I'll give it to you." The people of Israel offered many suggestions on whom this sponsor would be, but God was still not satisfied. Not until the people said, do you have any guesses what the people said? My hint is the beautiful voice praying in the corner. That's my hint. Exactly, he is right, because God would not give our ancestors the Torah according to this Midrash until the Israelites said, "Our children will be our guarantors." Not until then did God agree to give the Torah. God wanted something to ensure that the Torah and all its teachings would continue. No matter if we look to Torah, Midrash, or modern-day holiday observances, we concern ourselves with our future and the future of all the Jewish people. I might never understand when it's positive or when it's negative, that phrase, "bless her heart," and I might never change the way I, as a Midwesterner, speak. But I have grown as an individual with my move to this community, and I've learned so many new things about current day and hopes for the future because of my culture shock. May we each, during this holiday season, find time to evaluate our current situations and look to our futures with creativity and innovation as we celebrate the actions of the Israelites as they escaped from slavery to freedom. Shabbat Shalom. I invite us now to turn back to our prayers so we can conclude our service. We're going to turn to the words of Aleinu, which in the prayer books can be found on page 586. Does my friend want to help? Do you think? Maybe? Uh-oh. Do you want to come up and help me? Do you want to come help me? Do you want to come up? I'll open these giant doors up here with me? Yeah? Eli, can I bring Grandpa with you? Come on up. You're a really good helper. I'm going to invite the congregation to please rise. Okay, come up to this giant door right here. Look how big it is. It's so much bigger than you are. Ready? Want to put your hands right here? Think we can do it together? Ready? 1, 2. Whoa, it's going to come towards us. Ready? I just keep walking backwards. Can you go backwards? Good job, Eli. He's a pro. You want to come stand right here and look at the pretty Torahs? Nice. Let us join together. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latake yedula liyotze reshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzon, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim Ushkinatuzo, Ushkinatuzo, Begov He Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Ein Od, Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu Betorato, Veyadata Hayom, Vehashevota Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, Bashamayim Mimal, Ve'al Haaretz Mitachad Ein Od, Ein Od. We read together page 591. You're doing great. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'chaya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yehia Adonai echad u'shemo echad. I lost my helper, but Grandpa will stand there.
Good help, it's hard to find.
It is. Thank you. He was the perfect height for this arc. You may be seated. Thanks, Eli, for helping. Good job. Thanks for helping. As our prayers draw to a close this Shabbat evening, we turn our thoughts to our loved ones who are no more. Tonight, we remember 3 taken from us recently: Elaine Rose Kaplan, Faye Roos, and Joseph Schieber. To their names, we add the names of all of those who passed away during the past year: Erwin Shabe, Jeannie Samuels, Robert Berenson, Stacy Kaplan, Stacy Summer, Alvin Mykoff, John Carlson, Ruth Ann Miller, John Roheim, Barry Burton, Shirley Judge, Betty Simmons, Lee Kaplan, Joanne Bender, Leonard Knackman, Rowan Hausman, Maureen Corcoran, Lucy Silva, Larry Zackham, Richard Price Marcus, Eddie Goldman, and Eleanor McKee. We also think of those who died at this season in years past and whose family members are observing the Yortzeit, the anniversary of death, on this Shabbat. Timothy Barnett, Arlene Bishop, Rose Bond, Eileen Dampf, Elizabeth Lehman Durning, Lori Gilbert Kay, Ian Gamelski, Sally Kaplan, J.T. Korn, Alice Kranenstein, Seymour Lubin, Suzanne Alkus Mann, Kay Blitzer Olson, Tibor Perosi, Dorothy Smith Plouch, Shirley Reznikoff, Melvin A. Schudmack, Cynthia Schwartz, Ida A. Sherman, Leah Silver, and Erwin Shabe. If there are others you are remembering this evening, if you'd like to share their names aloud, I invite you to do so. we've heard aloud and those whom we hold in our hearts. We offer these prayers of Mourner's Kaddish. I invite you to turn to page 598 and to rise if you wish. Yit gadol v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divrach hirotev yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olamei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yet adar, v'yet ale, v'yet alal, shemei dekudasha barichu. Le'elam minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yahei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May all their memories be for a blessing, as together we say. Amen. You may be seated. I'm going to invite Emily, representing our board, to offer some welcome and some brief announcements.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Not quite as cute of a helper as the last one, but I'll work on it. Thanks for joining us, everyone, tonight for services. We welcome everybody. Some new faces who I haven't met before, so I'll try to make sure and say hello afterwards. Tomorrow morning, we have Torah study in the Lifelong Learning Center and on Zoom at 9:30, Minyan in the library at 10, and services here in the sanctuary at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow night, there will be a Havdalah service on Zoom hosted by the Saxe family at 6 p.m. 4 times a year, we gather to remember our loved ones who are no more on Yom Kippur, on Sukkot, on Passover, and on Shavuot. As we celebrate the season of our freedom this year, Passover, we also remember all in Israel who are still fighting for their freedom. We'll join together on Sunday at 4 p.m. to remember our loved ones and the loved ones in our community and those who've lost their lives to the war in Israel as we join for a Passover Yizkor. Also on Sunday at 7 p.m. we'll have Israeli dancing. And for more details on all these events, you can find them on our website and on the weekly announcements. So, Shabbat Shalom. And next Friday as well.
Yes.
Next Friday we have
The next 2 Fridays in a row, we have lots of celebrations. I can't believe it's May already. That completely slipped my mind. Next Friday, we are honoring our high school seniors. So come join them and their families so we can honor them during Shabbat services. And we will have Michael and Joey Roth with us for music. And then the Sunday, my brain is not functioning. The Friday after that, which is the 10th, I think? The 10th, we will be having our confirmation service. So we will be honoring those who have been working for a few years towards confirmation, and Michael and Joy will be with us again. So 2 weeks in a row with beautiful music, and to come support our high school students as we honor our seniors, and can you believe it, right? And as we honor our confirmation class as well. Thank you for reminding me. I can't believe it's May. Anybody else shocked that it's May? I'm shocked that it's May. It's pretty soon. Okay, I won't jump the gun yet. In a moment, we will sanctify the moment with a kiddush and motzi over some matzah. But first, I thought we would end this evening with a song that is traditionally done during our Seder, so you might have already heard it a few times this year. Avadim Hayinu, we were slaves, and although we are still fighting in some places for freedom, we sing that we are now free. Page 665 in the prayer books, and I invite you to sing with me. Avadim Hayinu, Hayinu, Ata b'nei chorin, b'nei chorin. Avadim Hayinu, Ata b'nei chorin, Ata b'nei chorin. Avadim Hayinu, Hayinu, Ata b'nei chorin, b'nei chorin. Avadim Hayinu, Ata b'nei chorim, ata b'nei chorin. And before we transition to Kiddush and Motzi, although Judith, I'm going to invite you to start making your way forward to lead us in both of those things. I will just do a quick note about this beautiful piece of art, which if you were with us for the second night Seder, you also saw. It comes from some of the new things that have come out since October 7th, specifically for Passover. So this is an artist that put it together after October 7th had happened, specifically for this moment on our calendar. Let us turn to page 123 so we can do Kiddush together. Judith, if you could uncover that cup. Beautiful. I'm going to invite everyone to please rise. Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen, baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, Ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. And Judith, I'll invite you to uncover our matzah and lead us when you are ready. Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Please come up and help yourself to some matzah. Do you like matzah? Can I have 2 high fives? That's a high 10. That's a high 20. One more, high 30. Can we make it 50? One more? 40? One more? One more? No, we're stopping at 40? Okay. How old are you? 2? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, this is a